Samuel Sao for the right to meet Hunter Ace in the finals.
I was tired just listening to that. Holy smokes, that's a lot of Hearthstone.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Don't tell me these guys don't have passion. This is a hard match for Just Saying, though.
He has gravitated that Fan of Knives into his opening hand, much as he did against the Odd Paladin, but you saw all the work it did against Odd Paladin. It was not a lot. And when you can generate tokens and immediately slap buffs on them as Samuel Sao, it's very likely that that Fan of Knives does equally nothing in this matchup.
I'm noticing that once again, some ramp is missing from Samuel Sao's hand. And that is a big deal in this matchup. You know, oftentimes Just Saying struggles with the amount of pressure that Samuel Sao can provide, just turn after turn after turn after turn. But it does require some amount of synergy. You know, Power of the Wild, pretty weak as a 3-2 against rogue decks. You know, that card is often reserved for buffs.
Yeah.
No Wild Growth, no Nourish means that Arcane Tyrant's pretty much stuck in hand until something like that happens. And Violet Teacher is pretty much public enemy #1. So Samuel Sao's going to just use the Panther here, and he's hoping that this finds like a backstab or something.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, if he gets backstab, I think he's kind of sad about it. I think what he's worried about is if Just Saying drops a Hench Clan Thug here, he has no way to challenge it. So he wants to get that 3-2 down, discourage the Hench Clan from coming down, and then he can somehow take initiative with the Violet Teacher after that. As it so happens, Saiyan just had both. He had the best of both worlds. He got the full tempo swing with the Hench Clan Thug and the backstab. And now Samuel Sao still has no way of contesting this, still can't freely drop his Teacher, but he's just out a Power of the Wild, which means that Fan of Knives in hand from Saiyan is just all the more powerful.
Yeah, I mean, the ideal scenario, Samuel Sao gets to challenge Hench Clan Thug.
Yeah.
What I was saying is he was literally hoping he sees backstab, hit you with the dagger, dagger up, go.
Sure.
That is like the ideal scenario.
Yeah.
It's when you see both that, you know, it doesn't matter if you held it or not at that point.
Right.
You know, maybe playing the Power of the Wild's better because you could tear apart some combo turns.
Yeah.
But here, he's just going to coin out the... He just sacrifices the Violet Teacher to kill a Hench Clan Thug. He's going to have to use Savage Roar next turn to kill that thing. I don't know. This is disaster. This was like the worst thing that could have happened to him.
I don't know what to tell you.
I don't know what to tell you. This is bad news.
I mean, what Samuel Sao just says, I mean, if I don't use a Violet Teacher and a Savage Roar to kill this thing, how am I ever killing it?
And using a Savage Roar makes you take 5 damage.
Yeah.
And it takes away some of your counter push potential when you get a board set up.
Yeah. And this swipe wouldn't have changed anything. That would be a 5-5 Hench Clan Thug on the board right now that still had all 5 health in its pool. There's only 4 mana available. He still wouldn't have been able to clear it unless he played that Violet Teacher.
My issue with the Violet Teacher is just that, what are you doing this turn?
Killing the Hench Clan Thug. We've been over this.
Oh, gosh, it's so painful. Sometimes decks that have a lot of these synergies in them, you draw the wrong half.
Yeah.
And you end up with a situation like this. I mean, Samuel Sao's pretty heavily favored in the matchup, all things considered. But this is falling apart. 2 Soul of the Forest? When in the heck are those going to get used?
Saiyan's in really good shape here. Combos his Elven Minstrel, picks up more gas for the following turns. We'll be looking for some Faldori Strider kind of stuff, and that looks right on the money to me. The good news for Samuel Sao is that his hand is actually starting to do something now. Nourish and Arcane Tyrant does allow him to start contesting this board state at least, and now Whispering Woods, Soul of the Forest combination does mean he can counter push, but he's out some of his burst damage now with the Savage Roar.
Well, the other thing too is if he nourishes an Arcane Tyrants here, he goes up to 7 mana, goes into 4 cards in hand.
Yeah.
So that Whispering Woods is for a 4 on the following turn
Yeah.
with the card he draws for the turn. So Whispering Woods, Soul of the Forest looks, you know, still pretty strong in that spot, but what is Saiyan going to do in the meantime to develop against this? I'm worried for Sam Sao. I think that, honestly, the way that this has panned out, he's played it properly. But golly, those are not the plays you want to end up being proper.
Yeah, it's hard to commit to saying that trading your Violet Teacher, Savage Roar, and 5 of your health for a Hench Clan Thug was the right play.
But it really
honestly,
was.
I think it probably was.
He'd just be dead if he didn't do this.
Yeah.
He really would. And you can see it in Sam Sao that he knows this is trouble.
Yep.
Wow. Honestly, I think that Saiyan needs to really think about the damage output here and see what his time to kill window is, because it's starting to approach the dangerous turns for him, and I think Sap might be on the forefront here.
Just so you could hold back the Eviscerate for more damage.
Sam Sao, we'd have to have another Nourish or a Spreading Plague to back this up, and if he's got those, you're going to have to use the Sap or Eviscerate probably anyway.
How scared are you of that Spreading Plague, though? Because Sap the Thing and Go is miserable against Spreading Plague. You leave a pair of 1-2s there that are just buffing your opponent's cards, and then the Arcane Tyrant comes right back out anyway.
And that's where I think the Fan of Knives is really the kicker here. You know, you just added a 4-power minion to board. Sure, you're going to have to, fight through this stuff for a little bit. So that tells you what he's thinking. He is somewhat afraid of it.
Yep. He's looking at 2 dead cards on the left-hand side of the hand that haven't been played that we know are Soul of the Forest.
Yeah, and that's in the hot seat. You're going to look at those and go, I'm going to assume that's the worst. Because if they're dead, great. But if they're not dead, better have something to do about it.
Yeah.
And Sam Sao, very little to do with this turn. I mean, this is he's rapidly approaching death. If he swipes this turn, that Whispering Woods is just getting weaker. So
you just got to make the board. I'm pretty sure. It's not great, but it's something. You
see Sam Sao just go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the feeling of someone who knows they're in trouble.
Oh, he can't. He just can't do it. He's picked it up and got within millimeters of that board, but he just cannot. Okay, it finally comes out. Whispering Woods, Soul of the Forest. There it is.
I see Saiyan rubbing his hands as he goes this turn like, wow, I got out of that one easy. Another Eviscerate picked up.
Is he double fanning?
Are you not?
Seems fine to me.
Yeah, this is great.
I don't know what you want from me, Admiral. Looks like a perfectly good turn.
Go. Well, that opens up a very different style of world where suddenly, somehow, Sam Sao has taken the lead. That was a huge draw, but that is also a pretty huge draw.
Yep.
Do you believe in miracles? Because Saiyan's about to need one.
So, mana efficiency here. The prep can be used immediately, yeah, because both fans were used on the previous turn, so you don't have to worry about being fully efficient trying to prep out 3 mana. You can't prep out 3 mana with what's remaining in your deck, so you know it's going to be used. You might as well just use it first, give yourself full information.
Yep, and Saiyan now, when he sees that far left card is still there in this circumstance,
yeah,
he's going to account for Ultimate Infestation, but I'll be curious to see how much he accounts for it. You know, at this stage, Violet Teacher, I think, is becoming a real threat because Saiyan's going to have to redevelop to get to a winning position, and that means leaving Violet Teacher around could result in certain death.
And that's why it's the Shiver this option instead of just the Sap option, because he doesn't want Samuel Sao to just be able to replay Violet Teacher on the next turn and just work from square one yet again. But the board that he's left with is just very, very weak to this Ultimate Infestation.
Other thing to consider now, too.
Oh, no, the Woods. The Woods Soul number 2.
I was about to say, without Whispering Woods, this hand could be quite weak because there's still Wild Growths in there. There's still Nourish left in the deck. Like, there's a lot of stuff that doesn't do much in Samuel Sao's deck, but finding that second Whispering Woods was absolutely critical. Got to Edwin.
5/5 is being sapped. Edwin comes down. There are a ton of spiders in that deck, none of which I believe have been pulled yet at this point.
No buff in hand for Samuel Sao, though. That's really important to note.
It's true. But he is all the way back up to 30.
Any buff or any Savage Roar actually gets him there. I don't think that, does Branching Pass get him there? 7 tokens on board. 14 more from the Branching Pass. So that's 21, and then 22 from the Hero. It's got to be Savage Roar, actually, to kill Saiyan from a Whispering Wood Soul the Forest spot. Like, Saiyan's going to move in if that happens, potentially. Maybe he goes with a half-half play where you clear out some of the tokens and try to live. But that Savage Roar used early on is now suddenly a very critical thing that happened.
It's true.
And if you're in Just Saiyan's spot, you are pretty much believing that you are dead, but he may find himself a bit surprised when he's not. That's if he's not, of course.
Backstab's just a huge whiff.
This is probably a Minstrel, and look for that Leroy. Find a way to deliver this damage. Count like 22. That's not enough.
Just saying, by the way, 0 Shadow Steps in his build.
Yep.
So his burst damage is a little bit limited when it comes down to that Leroy plan.
He really needed to find spiders this turn.
Spine number 2 and an SI7.
This guy's toast.
Can he get enough online to fight this?
He's going to land 1 Cold Blood. Has Leroy and Cold Blood number 2 available if it is drawn.
Saiyan's backup play has now gone into effect. Hope Sam Sao doesn't have buffs.
Yeah. So far, so good on that front.
Swipe's pretty good, but I think if you choose between Swipe or Savage Roar, you're choosing the former. Swipe or Savage Roar, you're choosing the Swipe to happen to you.
Right. Oh,
Yeah.
I see. Okay. We were saying for a moment. I
I
thought we were Samuel Sao. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. If you're Samuel Sao, you're just Savage Roar bust. Like,
Yeah.
Let's go. Get ready to draw 3. Now, we'll draw 1.
Draw 4.
Just draw. Just draw some cards.
Yeah. That's a bingo. Is that right?
You just say bingo.
Ah. Bingo.
That's clear skies. Oh, he's hero powering that. That's like a little bit dangerous to just hero power that 3-1 right now.
It seems entirely unnecessary. You sacrifice 1 damage to your opponent's face and essentially 0 board presence to just save the health yourself.
Saiyan's technically not dead in this spot either. Like, he could still keep fighting here. The problem is just the return damage. I don't think it's there unless he chains spiders here. Uh-oh. 1. Just 1.
This guy's toast.
Wipes out some of the board position. Saiyan, he just believes he's dead.
He just thinks he's dead, yeah. Surprise, you're alive.
For now. Draw 3. Sam is trying to account for, if these draws fail, what do I do then? It's a very low chance to fail right now. Branching Pass actually leaves Saiyan alive for 1 more turn, I think. But Savage Roar will end it immediately.
Yeah, Branching Pass off the Wild Growth would have been enough for lethal, I believe, because then he can still fit in the hero power alongside it.
No.
That's incredible. There are 5 cards left
5.
now, I believe, in Samuel Sao's deck.
We are rapidly approaching critical mass. And think about the start that Sam Sao had this game.
Yeah.
Sacrifice my Violet Teacher, Savage Roar your Hench Clan Thug, only go. And the extra armor, I believe, puts him out of range.
And it's looking like it's going to win in the game as well. I don't think he wins this game ever if that Hench Clan Thug stays alive from that position.
Yeah, I agree with you. He would just be flat out done. And saying that's
There's nothing.
There's nothing left to fight with.
Just going to give it one last perusal, but there is nothing here that's going to find Just Saying a solution. Samuel Sao is our finalist. The dream is over for one more tournament at least for North America and for Just Saying. But again, he's too good a player to not win the big one at some point. He is going to come good. Not that he doesn't have an incredible record in terms of consistency through tour stops and other major events. He just doesn't have that big trophy next to his name. But he's a phenomenal player, and he's put in another great performance at this event.
Hats off to Saying. You celebrate winners, but you have to look at that consistency and know the guys who are there time and again are the best players that are out there. But Samuel Sao, World Championship performance. He came out of nowhere last year with the Bahamas. Qualified to the World Championships. Lost to Tom, the eventual winner of that tournament. Now finds himself in the finals of a tour stop here at HCT Seoul. Don't sleep on Samuel Sao, but I have to admit that his play has looked a little bit shaky. He's made some good, I think, high-pressure plays, but he's made some poor high-pressure plays too. And so I think the fatigue and the pressure may be getting to Samuel a little bit in these last few rounds.
Yeah.